everyone, it's Ashley and today I am bringing you a tag video. This is going to be the coffee book tag. This is pretty much all of my favorite things into one: coffee, books, and YouTube. So I am super excited to get started on this. I was not tagged by anyone, but the original creator was, I believe, Bangity Bangs. I will leave their original video linked down below, and let's get started. The first question is black coffee, and for this you are supposed to pick a book that is hard to get into but has hardcore fans. And for this I am going with A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. This for me is extremely hard to get into. I've actually never finished this book. Not that I don't want to. It is great. The writing is great. It's just that there's so much going on and there's so many characters, and it's like one of those books that's written so that like everything's described, and so it is. It's kind of hard to get into because it's a brick of a book. It's kind of daunting. It's kind of terrifying how large it is. And also just kind of like hard to get into that writing style sometimes, but this book definitely has extremely hardcore fans. The next question is Peppermint Mocha, and for this you're supposed to pick a book that becomes more popular in the winter/holiday season. And for this I am going with Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. This book is so adorable, but it takes place over the Christmas holidays, and therefore it tends to become more popular in and around that time. It's a pretty simple explanation for that, but it is really good. If you haven't tried it, I would recommend it, even though it is currently summertime, springtime. It's sunny and there's no snow, but I would still highly recommend this book. The next question is Hot Chocolate, and this question is your favorite children's book. And for me, that is without a doubt Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. The whole series, but I grabbed the first book, so this is the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on what version or place you live at. Yeah, this is by far my favorite children's book. This series is easily the thing that got me into reading, and like, I mean, without getting too personal with you guys, Harry Potter actually really helped me through a lot of really tough times in my life, so it will always hold a really dear place in my heart. The next question is a double shot of espresso, and for this you're supposed to pick a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. And for me, I actually had a hard time picking a book for this, but I decided to go with The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin, mainly because it's one of the most recent ones that I've read that kept me on the edge of my seat. I was, like, the whole time I was reading this, I was like, what is happening? Where is this going? How is it happening? Etc, etc. Also, there's a really cute romance that also kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat. The next question is Starbucks, and for this you're supposed to name a book that you see everywhere. I also had a hard time with this one, but I decided to go with The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, because this book is actually like everywhere, whether it be the movie or the book or people talking about the book. But yeah, I see this a lot of places. The next question is hipster coffee shop. I'm gonna just switch this to kind of like independent coffee shop or like independently owned coffee shop. Mainly because I just feel like hipster coffee shop is a bad way to describe an independent coffee shop. But you're supposed to pick a book or author that is, and like kind of like an indie book or author, and kind of give it like a nice shout out. And I'm gonna go with Witches by Scott Snyder and Jock. This is an Image comic. It has not come out as a volume yet, it's only as issues, but it should be out as a volume in the nearish future because the 6th issue is about to come out, and generally it's 6 issues to a volume. But this is really good. I really like it. It's super unique, kind of scary, but very unique, and published by an independent publisher, so yay! The next question is Oops, They Gave Me Decaf, and for this you're supposed to say a book that you were expecting more from and it kind of let you down. And for me, I'm gonna choose City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Okay, so as a disclaimer, it's not that I didn't like the book at all, it's just that it was not what I was expecting it to be. I think that because it was so hyped up by the time I read it, it was like everyone was just yelling at me like, oh my god, this book, oh my god, this book is so good, you have to read this book. And by the time I read it, I think that because everyone was so excited about it, I was expecting a lot more than I got from it, so yeah. And the last question is The Perfect Blend. For this you're supposed to pick a book that is both bitter and sweet, yet ultimately satisfying. And I actually had a really hard time picking this because I almost picked books that I rave about on a regular basis, but I wanted to give you guys a book that I haven't been raving about as often in recent videos, and I decided to go with Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I love this book. I read it a long time ago, which is why I don't rave about it as often as other books, but it deserves the, like, praise that I'm about to give it. There is a lot of really crappy things that happen to the characters in this book, and I mean, not everything is sunshine and daisies at all in this book, but ultimately I kind of just felt like the way that I felt during Looking for Alaska, or like a lot of other books actually, that it was just kind of like all of this really crappy stuff happened, but ultimately it gave me this sense of like, yeah, crappy things happen, but ultimately everything's gonna be okay. And you know, the two just, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but some people really don't feel like this book gives them that feeling, and it really does for me. And yeah, definitely the perfect blend. Okay, so that is the coffee book tag. I am actually not going to tag anyone in particular because this tag is kind of old and I don't know who has done it and who hasn't. But if you want to do this tag, please do this tag and comment down below with the link so that I can go and watch your video. And that's pretty much it. Happy reading!